Hey guys, it's Timmy, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on Wednesday, February 13th, 2019, with the PWUnlimited Wednesday show. Let's see, everybody in the chat with us so far. We do have Benjamin A., Fun for Life, Luke Might, George John Cox, Henry Cavallo, Thanos Trolls, Kristen McNutt, Derek Bocek, Slam Hub Wrestling. What is going on, everybody? I hope you guys are having a good Wednesday night or good all-day Wednesday. I apologize for the train whistles in the background. So, I'll just get the elephant out of the room now. Nick is no longer with us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. He was offered a better position at his job, and he had to make a decision whether take the position with more money or stay in the position he's at, not make more money, and stay working, or not really working, but doing the podcast here with me and not making any extra money doing so. And I fully understand his decision to take the position, take the, I guess you could say, promotion at his job, make more money, and I told him, you know, whatever's best for you. I fully understand that. So going forward, maybe he'll join me here and there if possible. But as far as right now, I'm taking it solo. I got more people jumping into the chat. Jordan Ewing, Larana Nation, Matthew Palancia, Arif Alika. So, also, well, tonight's show, we're going to be talking about, you know, all the news. We're also going to run down who you guys voted as the best of 2018. Over 2,000 of you guys actually voted in our polls as far as best podcast, best weekly show, best on the mic, best male superstar, best female superstar. And then we will round out this episode with my Elimination Chamber predictions. So one of the first things I do want to talk about, of course, All Elite Wrestling. All Elite Wrestling is the big story this week as far as their Double or Nothing show and the tickets going on sale this Monday. Well, the pre-sale tickets went on sale Monday, and then the general admission tickets went on sale today. Excuse me. As far as the pre-sale tickets going on sale, what they did the night of their Double or Nothing ticket party, announcement party, whatever they want to call it, they said, okay, go to this website, allelitewrestling.com, click the link, sign up for a pre-sale code. You have till Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We will send you your pre-sale code at noon Pacific time. Then you can sign up and try to get pre-sale tickets. So they did that, and they had so many people try to sign up that first night that it crashed the website. That's why they said, you know, you can go all the way till Sunday to sign up for the pre-sale. Because within the first, I think it was 30 minutes, the website was crashed. And then after that, I think within the first hour, they had over 25,000 people sign up. So they go in on Monday. They send out all the pre-sale codes. There were so many pre-sale codes that not everybody got them right at 9. It took like a half an hour for the system to send out all the emails. The system was actually sending out 6 emails to some people for some reason. And then at noon, they said, all right, pre-sale tickets. They sold, I believe it was 90% of the tickets during the pre-sale. And then they saved the other 10% for the general admission. And the reason they did that has to do with not just because that's how they wanted to do it, but it really has to do with arenas. Arenas don't like it when a company or an organization or a music act puts all their tickets on sale for the pre-sale and doesn't allow people that did not get in on the pre-sale to also get tickets. It's kind of like their thinking is, oh, well, you're only letting your exclusive fans get tickets. Well, what if non-exclusive fans that didn't know about the pre-sale still want to try and get in? So that's why they did, you know, most of it during the pre-sale, and then some of it, the scraggler tickets, I guess you can say, during the general admission. Well, according to Dave Meltzer, he did state that over 43,000 people tried to get in on the pre-sale, and they were only, I think they only got it set up for like 14,000 total. I mean, they could always make the stage smaller and release more tickets closer to time. But as of right now, they got it around, I think it's like 14,000 seats for the show. That's not counting, luxury boxes, any media they do, credential, and all of that. So 43,000 people trying to get in on the presale for only 14,000 seats. That's crazy to even think that they could have gone somewhere way, way bigger than the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Now, we have heard that they originally did want to go to T-Mobile Arena, which is like, I want to say 20. Let me look it up exactly. T-Mobile Arena has a capacity in Vegas of, why does it not say it here? Let's double check this. T-Mobile Arena capacity for MMA and boxing, 20,000. So I think MGM can do 17, T-Mobile can do 20. And the reason they couldn't get T-Mobile, which they could have, but they didn't want to take a risk on it. The risk would have been if the Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey team, the NHL team, were to make the playoffs that night, May 25th, would have been a playoff game for them, a home playoff game. If that were to have happened and they would have booked the building and then they said, hey, nope, we made the playoffs, you got to move. They didn't want to have to move last minute to a smaller building, have sold these 20,000 tickets, and then said, oh, well, only 15,000 can come to the show. The other 5,000 can no longer, join in or be there. So they went the safe route, I guess you can say. So with that, it's sold out. It sold out the pre-sale within 30 minutes. They said that it could have sold quicker if so many people weren't trying to get in and bogged down the system. They said the 30 minutes could have really been 10 minutes. And then today, the remaining tickets for the general admission sold out in 4 minutes. So total, they could have sold this thing out in 15 minutes total. But it was a little longer because, too many people tried to get in. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of people bought these tickets to resell them. There was a guy on Twitter that literally went and posted and goes, anybody that didn't get tickets on the presale, hit me up in my DMs. I've got 5 tickets that I paid $70. He literally said, I paid $70 each. I'll sell them to you for $350 each. Looking to make a $1,400 return on his investment. So I know there's a lot of tickets. I think there's at least 600, if not more, on StubHub. And I'm pretty sure if you look at StubHub, Vivid Seats, and there's one other, I can't remember the name of it. They all basically have the same tickets on sale. It's like if a ticket broker is to put their tickets on one, they're going to put them on all to maximize the benefits of, hey, someone's going to see these tickets on one of these reseller websites. And then once they get sold on one, they'll take them down on the other. So if you do want to get in and you haven't got your Double or Nothing tickets, you still can, but you're not going to get them at the cheap prices that they were at. And that's the other thing. They could have charged a lot more for these tickets if they really wanted to. Mr. Jones is me in the chat, says, God, I hate scalpers. Yeah, I mean, it happens. I know WrestleMania's got a lot of tickets on the secondary market. NXT's got a lot of tickets on the secondary market. The G1 Supercard Ring of Honor New Japan show has a lot of tickets on the secondary market. But that's common for the New York area. Scalpers do like to buy tickets to New York shows because those shows are already overpriced because it's New York. So they can overprice those tickets. So we'll see how it all does go. They have announced technically 4 matches. We do know the main event is going to be Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. We do know that Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, and Kylie Ray will be in a triple threat match. We do know that Adam Page will be taking on Pac. It looks very likely that the Bucks will be taking on the Lucha Brothers. And then we do know that 2 members of SCU, I believe it's probably going to be Scorpio Sky and Kazarian, will be taking on 2 members of the OWE roster. Christopher Daniels said, Chima, pick 2 guys off your roster and have them face SCU. So far we do have 3 official matches, 2 basically announced matches. and we'll go from there. We are hearing that they do want to do another pre-show on TV, do 1 or 2 matches on that, just like they did with All In. And then if you think about how many matches they should do on the actual main card, excuse me, I think they should do probably 8 or so matches. Now, as far as how you can watch it, they have not announced exactly how you can watch it, but the going word is they're going to do it just like All In. It's going to be on the pay-per-view, traditional pay-per-view, and it'll be on the Fight TV app just like it was last year. So those are ways you can watch it if you can't be there. StarCast, we haven't heard if all the StarCast stuff is also going to be on the Fight TV app. We would assume it could be. It did really well business. It did really good business last year, as far as them doing the deal where you pay, I think it was $99 and you can watch every single panel, or you can buy the panels individually for like $4. So it should be a really good show. I have faith. They've got faith. Everybody's got faith in it. Well, not everybody, but most people. Colby Duran in the chat asking about 205 Live. I have not watched 205 Live yet this week. I will try to watch it either tonight or tomorrow before I do my review for Patreon.com members. That does go up on Fridays. But as far as AEW goes, I think all things considered, it's going to be very interesting. And the one interesting thing is Cody will have a match. Cody did yesterday undergo arthroscopic surgery on his knee. He will not be working any matches leading up to Double or Nothing, so he makes sure that he's 100%. But they've teased his opponent, excuse me, on the Road to Double or Nothing shows. So the first week they teased it. They had some guy come in. I always keep forgetting his name. And he was like, hey, Cody called for you. And they bleeped out the guy's name. And Cody goes, oh, man. Yeah, I'll deal with that. And he was like, well, you want me to just call him back? And Cody goes, no, this is personal. And then the guy goes, well, you know, you still don't have an opponent for Double or Nothing. And Cody goes, well, we'll see about it. Then on the new episode of Road to Double or Nothing, Cody was showing Brandy the graphics for the matches, and there was one with Cody's face, and then another face blurred out. So we don't know who this opponent for Cody can be. It looks like it could be somebody with a personal connection to Cody, but as far as who that can be is unknown. I know, I think it was Ryan Satin last week on his Wrestling Sheet Radio podcast did state that he heard that it could be a WWE superstar that is not yet available to be announced. So it's either somebody that has recently left, which I can't think of anybody that's recently left, or it's somebody that's looking to leave soon. And the people that could be leaving soon, guys that have not re-signed contracts and their contracts expire before May 25th, are AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. Because if you looked at the video of Double or Nothing episode 3, when Brandy was looking at the match graphic and the person's face was blurred out, it looked like a white guy. So that would lead me to believe if it's somebody in WWE that could be leaving before May 25th, that would be one of two people, AJ Styles or Dean Ambrose. I know the Usos can get out of their contract as well, but I don't think it's the Usos. I know a lot of people keep saying, well, what about Goldust? I think he's still under contract with WWE past Double or Nothing. So we'll see where it all goes. I don't know exactly who it could be. I know there's a lot of things that are in play. Mr. Jones is me, 90-day no-compete, though. I think that is only, I can verify this. I can ask and let you guys know on Twitter. I think that is only if you get released. Now, if you just let your contract expire, I don't think there's a 90-day no-compete there. Because really, if your contract expires and there's no time left on your contract, they really can't hold you to that. If your contract is just, you still going, but you're released to, like, say, when Emma and Darren Young were released, they still had a lot of time on their contract. So they said, okay, we're going to hold you them 90 days, then you can go. Because during those 90 days, WWE is still paying them. If your contract is expired, WWE is not going to be paying you. So I could ask about this, but I don't think there's a 90-day no-compete if your contract is just up, like we're going to see with Dean Ambrose. So that is the interesting thing right there that you got to think about as well. Thanos Troll says Usos versus Lucha Bros. No, it's going to be the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros, because they're not going to tease the Lucha Bros working Double or Nothing for a match with a team that they don't even know that they could get. the Usos could go to AEW, but I don't think it's very, very possible. Henry McKenna Cavallo says, where has Asuka been and who will she face at WrestleMania? I don't know where Asuka's been. I honestly do not know. It's been interesting that we have not seen her since the Royal Rumble. We have not seen anything. Ooh, sorry about that. We have not seen any side of her at all. Colby Duran, Austin Aries. I don't think Cody's opponent would be Austin Aries. I don't even know if they want to work with him. He's got a bad attitude. Anyways. Slam Home Wrestling, who was the last guy in WWE to leave after contract expiration? That's a good question. I don't know. I honestly don't know who the last person was that just left when their contract expired. I know Cody, when he left, he actually got a release. He asked for it and got it. And, yeah, I really don't know. Chris Bingham says, Tim, aren't Lucha Bros the Impact Tag Team Champions? Correct. But they're not signed to Impact Wrestling, so they can still work with AEW if they wanted to. You know, they're still working with MLW. They're technically signed to AAA and Lucha Underground, with AEW having a working relationship with AAA. That makes it very easy for them to bring in and use Pentagon and Phoenix. So we'll see where it all goes. There's still, what is there? It's March, April, May, 3.5 months until this show does go down. So I'm interested. I may be going, depending on if we can get media credentials or not. And we'll see how it all does go. Colby Durand, Tim, does Hideo Itami have a no-compete clause? I would assume that he does have a 90-day no-compete. He did finish up, supposedly, with a company 2 weeks ago, but we haven't heard the exact date of his release. Like, he could still be technically under contract and not been fully given that release yet. We don't know. That's the thing about it. We don't know exactly when his release does go into effect. And there is a rumor now. This is just a rumor that there is a deal where he could have said, hey, if you give me my release, I will only work for X company. I will only work for Noah. I will only work for, he won't go to anybody in the States. He won't do such and such. There's a rumor on that. So I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's false. But that is something we have heard, that WWE put a constituent in his contract or his release. So with that, moving forward, if anybody does want to give a call, you can call into the show, 559-475-8473. The number is in the live chat for anybody that does want to give a call. So, interesting thing, kind of news that broke today, has to do with the next season of Total Divas. Total Divas Season 9 has been greenlit by the E! Network, and we've learned of some cast members leaving, and we've learned of some cast members who are actually being added to the show. So, first off, it was actually revealed to Lillian Garcia on the Lillian Garcia, what's her show called? Her show's called Chasing Glory Show. It was revealed that Lana and Rusev would not be returning to Total Divas. Apparently, there are new executives in charge at E! Network, and they said Lana and Rusev are strongly disliked. Like, really? Huh. Then we learned that Sonya Deville will actually be added onto the show, and I think this is a good idea. It's a new thing that they can do as far as they've never had an LGBT woman on the show. So that's a new storyline they can follow. It's a new demographic they can grab at as far as LGBT demographic. And then, so we learned, Lana Rusev out, Sonya Deville in. Then we learned today, per Pro Wrestling Sheet, The Bellas are out. The Bellas will not be returning for Season 9 of Total Divas. Apparently, after Season 7 finished airing, or Season 8 finished filming, they informed the producers and the E-Network executives, we don't want to do Total Divas anymore. We want to fully just sit and put our whole effort into Total Bellas. Basically, they're like, why do we want to be on a show where we're only kind of featured when we can go work even harder on a show that we're 100% featured on? So with that, Bellas are out. We then learned through Squared Circle Sirens that Ronda Rousey was approached and agreed, apparently, to join Total Divas. So it looks like Ronda Rousey will now be joining the show, and I think that's a good idea. Reason that Ronda Rousey joining the show is a good idea is because she's got reach farther than any other girl in this company. She's more popular mainstream-wise than any other girl that can be on this show. So she can actually reach to the demographic, to the women, to the girls, to the females that they're not already reaching right now. The girls that know her from being in the UFC, that know her from doing the multiple interviews on Ellen, being in movies, being on different TV shows. So she's got a bigger outreach than anybody else that can bring new fans in. It looks like the actual cast for Season 9 will end up being Ronda Rousey, Sonya Deville, Carmella, Naomi, Natalya, and Nia Jax. There's one name they're missing. That's Paige. Paige has not been listed on the actual cast list for Season 9, and somebody asked Paige that on Twitter. They said, hey, Paige, you returning for Season 8 of Total Divas? And she literally just responded with, nope. So, Paige also out of Season 9 of Total Divas. So, it'll be interesting to see if the show can increase in ratings, because the show's been doing just horrible ratings. Total Bella's been doing horrible ratings. And you would think that the E-Network would drop it because of the bad ratings. I think Total Bella's this past weekend had the worst ratings they've ever done, which is not a good sign. So, Brian Medina says Rosa was LGBT. Did they actually center and focus on that? I never really watched Total Divas. I've seen a couple episodes of Season 1. But from what I was told, they're really, really going to focus on it this time with Sonya Deville. Because I believe when Rosa was on there, it was all about her and her boyfriend. With Sonya, it's going to be her and I think her girlfriend. So I don't think Rosa's was a LGBT storyline, if you can call it that, on the show anyways. So that's the difference right there. With that, talking some Total Divas, let's take a call. And caller on the air, what's going on?
Hi, is Tim?
Yes.
My question is about a match that was recently announced. I believe it was last week on Raw about Charlotte Flair facing Ronda Rousey.
Right.
Heard about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to go with the obvious idea and make it a triple threat match with Becky? Or do you think they're going to go through with it?
No, it's a triple threat. The plan since basically Survivor Series has been for this match to be a triple threat. So the initial plan was for the match to be Charlotte Ronda WrestleMania. Then, around last August, the plan shifted to Ronda Natalya. When Natalya's father passed away, they realized Natty can't turn heel right now. The fans will not embrace her as a heel. We can't go that route, so it shifted back to Ronda Charlotte. Then when Becky got hurt and couldn't work Survivor Series, they put Charlotte in the match of Survivor Series and said, okay, we'll give Becky the match at WrestleMania. Then a couple weeks after Survivor Series, they came up with the idea of, let's do a triple threat. Because I think right around Survivor Series, Ronda informed the company, I'm taking time off after Mania. So that's when they said, okay, we need to get Charlotte in here so that way we have two women that can be in the main event that can still stick around. They want at least 2 women from that main event to be around and be able to keep saying that they were in that main event. They don't want it to be a case of how the fans treated Ronda last time, as far as Ronda lost a big match and then just disappeared from the UFC. They don't want something like that again, so they're thinking possibly is, well, if both Charlotte and Becky are still around, that's 2 women that can keep talking about this match. So the whole storyline of Becky, you're suspended, Becky, Charlotte's your replacement, eventually Becky's going to get her way back into this match, and I do think that Becky's going to get her way back in by beating Charlotte at Fastlane, and then it becomes a triple threat. Though they haven't confirmed that, but from everything we're seeing, that does seem very logical.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that they'll go with that. What else is going to happen? So yeah, they go with that triple threat match, but is it going to be like the actual main event, like the last match?
As of right now, that is the going feeling. Things can change. Vince can change his mind the day of, but as of right now, the plan is for it to be the final match of the night.
Oh, okay. What about Brock versus Seth? Will that be like middle, towards the end?
You know, if it was me, I would put it third from the top. I would put Ronda, Becky, Charlotte in the top match. I would put a buffer match before them, and then I would put Brock and Seth. Because you don't want the fans to, you know, either hate or love the Brock-Seth match. Say they hated that match because, you know, it's Brock Lesnar. They don't like the Brock Lesnar WrestleMania matches anyways. So, say they hated that match, and then that next match they're just not going to care for. So, if you put that next match as, I don't want to say a nothing match, but a match that doesn't mean much, the fans can kind of like calm down from the Brock Lesnar match before that triple threat main event starts, and then they'll be all good. So, I think that's maybe how they should do it. I don't know. They could put it earlier in the show. They could do them back-to-back, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. And one final question.
Sure.
Coming up with the Elimination Chamber, Daniel Bryan's defending the title. Do you think he goes into WrestleMania still as champion, or who do you think goes as champion?
I think he goes in as a champion.
You think so?
I think it's too early to take that title off of him because the gimmick he's doing right now wouldn't work if he's not the champion.
That's true. Like, they generally want that heel vibe, you know, for a champion like that.
Right.
But,
for him to keep saying, you know, I've got this new belt. I'm going to change the world. I'm going to make everybody's lives better. I don't think it would work as much if he's not the champion. If he's just some smarmy heel looking to be the champion or just looking to do these things. But with him as the champion, it's almost like, well, he's the champion. He may actually have the power to kind of try and persuade people into his thinking because they may think, well, if the champion's telling us this stuff, we may have to believe it.
But who do you think would be up for the challenge? Like, who do you think would face him? Would it be like a singles, a triple threat?
You know, I think it should be a singles since they're doing this big multi-man Elimination Chamber match at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, against 2, though.
I can see maybe a Mustafa Ali. If you want to just do like if you want to go out there and just have great hell of a match, Mustafa Ali or Samoa Joe is my opinion. Will they go that route? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see then. All right, well, thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, and have a great night.
Yeah, you too.
All right. So, with that, excuse me, just reading the chat here. Daniel Price says, Duke, Shafir, and Shayna will run in. That'll be why they put it on last. Sasha threw up 4 fingers in Ronda's face. You know, I don't think they're doing, the Four Horsewomen thing anytime soon, especially with Ronda leaving and taking time off after WrestleMania. So, because if you think about it, yeah, Sasha keeps throwing up the 4 fingers. Becky's throwing up the 4 fingers. Bayley's throwing up the 4 fingers. But it can't work if, you know, you've got 3 baby faces and 1 big, huge-ass heel. If Charlotte is the biggest heel in the company and then the other 3 are baby faces, how would that even work? How would that even, you know, I don't know how to word this. It's just, no. What, all of a sudden, you're going to come out of WrestleMania, Charlotte's going to be like, oh my God, I've changed my tone. I'm friends with Becky again. Let's do the 4 Horsewomen. It just won't work at all. Like, you've got to wait way down the line. And I don't even think Duke Shafir probably won't even be good enough or ready by WrestleMania anyways. You guys are asking about the next Saudi show. The next Saudi show, I believe, is going to be... Let me double check on the date. We do have a date. Fightful.com did break this story. Let me double check that for you guys. Jack Boche says, what's the next Saudi show going to be called? Who knows? No idea whatsoever. But the date for the next Saudi Arabia show is set to be, I know it's in May. I want to say May 5th. I could be wrong. Double checking that date. In a report from Fightful.com, they are reporting that WWE will be returning to Saudi Arabia on Friday, May 5th. So yes, the next Saudi Arabia show for the WWE is scheduled to basically be 1 month after WrestleMania, Friday, May 5th. As far as what that show is going to be called, who knows? Who knows? But before we talk about who you guys voted as the best of 2019, let's take one more call. Caller, on the air, what's going on?
Hey, Tim, what's new?
Not much. What's going on, bud?
Oh, nothing much. I was gonna call in every single night, get some questions answered, but okay, so with All Elite Wrestling coming, like when they run TV, are they gonna like tape like shows at one location, or are they gonna tour?
Way too early to even say. They don't even have a TV deal in place, so I don't even know if they may have a slight idea. But until they get that TV deal in place and find out what the TV network even wants, there's no even way to even predict that. Because if they say, okay, we'll give you 1 or 2 hours taped every Tuesday night, then they can tape it from wherever they want. But if they say, we'll give you 1 or 2 hours live every Tuesday night, then that's a whole different dynamic. And they may not be able to be in the same building every Tuesday night. They may have to do it as a traveling show if they're going to be live. So that is the big question of, will the show be done live? Will the show be done taped? We don't know. I think the Friday before Super Bowl, I can't confirm it's 100%, but what we're hearing is they may have had a meeting with Turner executives in Atlanta to possibly be on TNT.
Huh. And, okay, a couple more questions. With the Elimination Chamber coming up, you got that, that women's tag team, and the obvious choice that we're mostly predicting that Bayley and Sasha are going to walk out the champ.
Not my prediction.
Really? Who do you think will win?
I'll give you my prediction at the end of the show.
Okay. Well, personally, I think the Iconics should win because I just think it'd be funny, like you said a couple weeks ago. And I think, eventually Bayley and Sasha could win at like Mania and have that be a WrestleMania moment. But, I mean, yeah. And if I don't think about booking for WrestleMania, like here's my small little fantasy booking. I think Ambrose and Reigns, obviously you got to get Reigns to agree to this, but you got to have him help and beat Brock. I mean, he doesn't have to be physical. I mean, he can just surround the ring and something like that, and then that match could close the show. I mean, the whole women's thing is probably most likely going to close it, but I mean, it's the last time you'll ever see the Shield if they ever did that.
Right, so. I fully understand that. It would be a cool moment to end the show with Dean, Seth, and Roman in the ring after Seth had beat Brock Lesnar. But again, everything that we're hearing is that women's match is going to go on last, and the last thing we're going to see, most likely, is Becky Lynch holding up that Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, you think they could still maybe do the Shield thing, just at midway through the show. I mean, it wouldn't be as big, but it'd still be a good moment.
Wouldn't do it because it wouldn't really mean as much if it's not the last thing. Because it kind of just be like, they do it, and then it's just an afterthought. We're like, oh, we got more wrestling. What was that? There was a Shield moment? Oh, well, we're still watching WrestleMania. It would be overshadowed by everything else.
I could see that, when I was thinking it has to close the show, but then you get the conflict, with the women's.
Right.
And if the women will ever close the show, this would be the one, so. All right, cool. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks for the call and have a great night. All right. So, we asked you guys back in December to vote on who you thought were the best wrestlers, podcast, on the mic, shows, etc. in all of 2018. We had over 2,000. Way more than I thought would have participated. Over 2,000 of you actually voted, and we are now going to run down the list and the winners from our PWU 2018 year-end awards. The first award was for Best Wrestling Podcast. The nominees were Something to Wrestle, The Steve Austin Show, 83 Weeks, Jim Ross Report, and the Edge and Christian Pod of Awesomeness. And the winning podcast of the year actually went to the Steve Austin podcast. That was a big shocker to me. I thought it would have either gone to the ENC podcast or it would have gone to the Something to Wrestle podcast. The ENC podcast was second, with the Something to Wrestle in at third. The next award we do have here is a Best on the Mic. The nominees were Paul Heyman, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Alexa Bliss, and The Miz. And barely winning this award by 0.5%. Half a percent. Not even 0.5%. Yeah, 0.5%. The Miz over Samoa Joe. The Miz, I'll tell you right now, The Miz came in at a 30.7% of the votes, with Samoa Joe at a 30.3% of the votes. Crazy. So the next up we got is Weekly Show of the Year. We got Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live, NXT, MLW Fusion, and Being the Elite. And landslide victory here for NXT. The second place show was SmackDown Live. Next up was Major Show of the Year, basically like pay-per-view of the year. The nominees were WrestleMania 34, WWE Evolution, Wrestle Kingdom 12, New Japan Pro Wrestling Dominion, and NXT TakeOver New Orleans, with NXT TakeOver New Orleans running away with the show with 47% of the votes. Second place was the Wrestle Kingdom 12. Thanos Trolls, you want to know where Raw came in as far as a best weekly show? Raw did come in 5th out of 6. 4th out of 5, my bad, counted wrong. 4th out of 5. But as far as Major Show of the Year was NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Now, as far as a feud of the year goes, the nominees were Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, and AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. And running away with 70% of the votes was Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, with 14% of the votes. In second place was Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Thanos Trolls asked who was last as far as best weekly show. Unfortunately, MLW Fusion, because it just doesn't get as many people watching it. But I think it's a pretty good show. Going forward, we had Match of the Year. Nominees were Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa from NXT TakeOver New Orleans, Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch from Evolution, Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega from Dominion, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho from Wrestle Kingdom 12, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kota Ibushi from the G1 Climax Finals. And Match of the Year does go to Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega, 2 out of 3 falls from Dominion. Second place did go to Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Moving forward with Most Improved Wrestler of the Year, the nominees were Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Velveteen Dream, Juice Robinson, and Filthy Tom Lawler. Taking away with 56% of the votes, it was the Velveteen Dream as Most Improved Wrestler of the Year. Second place does go to Ronda Rousey. Tag Team of the Year, the nominees were the Usos, The New Day, Pentagon and Phoenix, the Young Bucks, Undisputed Era, and SCU. And the actual winners, with 53% of the votes, Tag Team of the Year went to the Undisputed Era. Second place, with 23% of the votes, were the Young Bucks. 2 categories left with Female Wrestler of the Year. The nominees were Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, Tessa Blanchard, and Toni Storm. And of course, running away with 72% of the votes, female wrestler of the year, voted on by you guys, the subscribers of PW Unlimited, the man, Becky Lynch. Second place with 10% of the votes does go to Ronda Rousey. And male wrestler of the year, the nominees were Kenny Omega, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Tommaso Ciampa, and Seth Rollins. And winning male wrestler of the year with a 35% of the votes, it does go to Kenny Omega. In second place with 27% of the votes does go to Seth Rollins. So that is what you guys, the PW Unlimited fans, did vote on. Over 2,000 of you guys did vote on these polls. So I want to say thank you to everybody that did participate. Everybody that did go on to pwunlimited.net/2018 year end and helped us out here with figuring out who you guys felt were the best of 2018. So with that going forward, we do have a couple more things we want to talk about. If anybody else does want to call into the show, you can do so at 559-475-8473. But before we keep going, we want to tell you that this show is brought to you by the WWE Official Cookbook. WWE has partnered up with Inside Editions to bring you their official new cookbook. Now, this isn't the first WWE cookbook, but this is a brand new WWE cookbook that does drop on March 19th. This new cookbook has many, many recipes with different categories. The categories are as followed. We've got side dishes, we've got entrees, desserts, main dishes, and more. They've got beverages in here. We've got some great recipes like Bailey's Chicken Nuggets and Ric Flair's Whoopie Pies. Starting next Tuesday, leading up to the launch of this book, we will be bringing you some exclusive recipes and some exclusive videos showing you these recipes. So we will put a link in the description of this video to have you guys go and pre-order this book. Again, this book is put together by Insight Editions. They have partnered up with WWE. Also, if you go onto their website, if you wanted to, you can also get the official WWE Journal book. Like I said, we will put a link in the description of this video for you guys to go and pre-order your very own copy of WWE, the Official Cookbook. So just looking at the chat here, a lot of people keep asking about Asuka, and like I said earlier, I have no clue what's going on with Asuka. I have no idea why we have not seen Asuka since a Royal Rumble. Like, none whatsoever. I'm baffled that we haven't seen her. I know Natalya put up a tweet the other day. It was basically like, hey, if women can come from SmackDown to challenge the Raw title, why don't I go to SmackDown and challenge for that title? So, whether it happens or not, I don't know. Natty versus Asuka could be cool. I'd like to see it. So going forward, a couple more things before we do get into our Elimination Chamber predictions. A few big matches have been announced for the upcoming Ring of Honor, I think it's 17th anniversary show. I thought I had those matches pulled up here. Let me pull them up here for you. Now, it's very evident that the card's not going to be as good as it could have been, with guys like the Bucks, Cody, Hangman Page all leaving. The card, a little weak right now. As far as what we know so far on this card, the card does take place from Sam's Town Hotel and Gambling Hall in Las Vegas on March 15th. Right now, the card, there's 3 matches officially announced. We've got Kenny King versus Marty Scurll. We've got for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships, Villain Enterprises Brody King and PCO challenging the Briscoes. And with the Ring of Honor World Championship on the line, Jay Lethal will be defending against Matt Taven. So, I mean, this is their first big test since losing Cody, the Bucks, and Hangman Page. Can this show draw without the Elite. Did the Elite have that much drawing power in Ring of Honor that helped them do well, not just with the live gate, but also with the show on pay-per-view and Fight TV? It's going to be odd to see who else they add here. I mean, Matt Taven versus Jay Lethal. I'm not really that excited. I know they've been building it up where Matt Taven kept saying that, oh, I'm the real world champion and Jay Lethal's not the real world champion and I should be the champion. And then he had his own purple belt, and then Jay Lethal destroyed that purple belt, and now Taven's getting a championship match. Odd storyline. But they had to do something to try and get people invested. Again, this show does take place from the Samstown Hotel and Gambling Hall on March 15th. The show will be on Honor Club, and it should be on Fight TV as well, just like every other Ring of Honor pay-per-view. So with that, before we do go into our Elimination Chamber predictions, if anybody else does want to give us a call, 559-475-8473 is the phone number. Again, 559-475-8473. You guys can call in and let us know what you think of everything going on in professional wrestling. Well, a couple other things we did want to talk about. Brock Lesnar, for one. Brock Lesnar is advertised for a couple upcoming WWE events, or actually Monday Night Raw shows. We do know that Brock Lesnar is advertised. Now, this doesn't mean he's going to appear, but he's advertised for the February 25th show in Atlanta from the State Farm Arena, March 18th in Chicago from the Allstate Arena, and April 1st in Washington, D.C. from the Capital One Arena. Now, April 1st, I can probably just say certainty he's going to be on that show. That's WrestleMania Go Home. But here's the interesting thing. Next week's Raw is from Lafayette, Louisiana. Brock was actually being advertised for that show up to a couple weeks ago. Brock had been pulled from advertising because there was a miscommunication. The arena was advertising Brock, not the WWE. So with that, you have to take into consideration if any of these other arenas are just advertising Brock to advertise Brock, or if WWE did give them that directive of, hey, advertise Brock because we want you to. So Brock could be showing up on 3 Monday Night Raws leading up to the actual WrestleMania. Again, if you do want to call in, 559-475-8473. Derek Boak in the chat says, Tim, does your family watch pro wrestling? My kids will watch it here and there. They'll get into it if I put it on. But it's not something where they go, can we watch it? Can we watch it? It's not like they ask to watch it. But if it gets put on, yeah, they'll watch it. Let's take this call here. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
What's up, you guys?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, I have a couple of questions. First of all, you do recall why Matt Taven's been carrying that purple belt, right?
Enlighten me.
Okay. Remember last year, there was a show going into, I think it was Lowell, Massachusetts. Well, one of the cities they do in Massachusetts, where Taven was supposed to face Dalton Castle for the Ring of Honor World title back when Castle was champion. And Castle had to miss that show due to injury, so Taven was just thrown into a six-man tag where they won those six-man tag titles. Right. So since then, he never really got a proper one-on-one match, and based on his ego, he feels that he would have been the rightful world champion if he were to have that match. So he's just been toting it around just until he actually got his one-on-one match. So
but who's to say he would have beat Dalton Castle?
Well, obviously Taven. So it kind of helps with his ego, and it kind of helps with where it's going. But yeah, he likely would not have. But who's to know? Exactly. Castle was pretty beat up at the time. Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's that. Also, we have not seen Samoa Joe hit the Muscle Buster on TV, have we?
On TV, I think there may have been one instance. Now on NXT, we've seen him hit it a couple times. But as far as the main roster, have we? I believe he did it to Finn at least once. in one of their 50 matches.
Okay, because I do remember how I was wondering if it was banned because of what he did to Tyson Kidd when he hit it on a live show.
Well, that wasn't a live show. That was actually a dark match after an episode of Monday Night Raw.
Oh, okay, yeah, but it wasn't shown on any sort of television.
No, because it was a dark match.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I thought because like we've never seen him use it on the main roster, at least to the point where like maybe one of the reasons he hasn't really been winning big matches is because one of his most powerful weapons has not been used at all. Because he tried it on AJ at SummerSlam, and
right.
I was just curious because like his mystique kind of has been burned because he's been pushed a little bit towards winning the title, but he always seems to lose the big one. So
right,
maybe if he were to win it by using the Muscle Buster, that could sort of get his mystique back. But I don't know.
So
I'm just curious if that was like banned.
Right, so you're asking that question, and then I Googled it really quickly, Samoa Joe Muscle Buster, and there is a video that comes up from, it's a compilation video that sees him do it at least 5 or 6 times. He did it to, let's see, who's here in this video? Nakamura, he did the Muscle Buster too. He did the Muscle Buster to Finn Balor. He did the Muscle Buster to Rhino. He did the Muscle Buster to Enzo. He did the Muscle Buster to Alexander Wolf. He did the Muscle Buster twice to Rhino, actually. And Scott Dawson
only
as well.
On NXT.
Right, in NXT. I don't know. I can't recall.
Okay.
I can't recall if he's ever done it on the main roster, but he's done it a number of times in NXT.
Okay. Because I guess I blanked out on all those cases.
Right.
But yeah, I was just curious. I know it's one of those big dangerous moves that like initially, the Styles Clash was seemingly banned, but then it obviously got up-banned later on. So,
well, the weird thing about it is Tyson Kidd was really the first person to ever be injured off of Joe doing that move.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that since it was like so early in Joe's NXT career that they decided to like pull the plug on that just to try to keep everyone else safe. And
right.
Yeah, they didn't want it to be a recurring thing because it might have been one of the first occurrences. So.
Yep.
Yeah. But I was just curious.
All right. Thank you for the call and have a great night.
Yep, you too.
All right. So, with that, this coming Sunday is the Elimination Chamber. So far, for the Elimination Chamber, we do know of how many matches? I got it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 matches on the show. Now, we did learn today that the Baron Corbin-Finn Balor match has been announced as a no disqualification match. The match will most likely see, in my opinion, if I'm doing my prediction, let's just start it off. Baron Corbin, Braun Strowman, no disqualification. I'm going with Braun Strowman. I think Braun Strowman picks up the victory here. Braun Strowman, the winner against Baron Corbin. Moving forward, in a handicap match with the Intercontinental Championship on the line, Finn Balor will be challenging Bobby Lashley, but Lio Rush will also be in this match. Now, if Finn Balor pins either Lashley or Lio Rush, he wins the championship, but I think Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush do come out victorious. Going forward with the WWE Cruiserweight Championship on the line, Buddy Murphy will be defending against Akira Tozawa. And let's give it to him right now. Buddy Murphy successfully defending. I got it. I'm going to say it. There's no way around it. It's obvious. Next up, with the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships on the line, The Miz and Shane McMahon. Team McMiz. The champions defending against the Usos. That McMiz TV segment on this past Tuesday's SmackDown Live really got me interested for this match because Miz kind of made it personal there at the end, bringing up Mandy Rose. Usos got a little upset about that, and they super kicked both Miz and Shane, but I do think Miz and Shane do walk out retaining those championships come the Elimination Chamber. with the Raw Women's Championship on the line, we do have Ronda Rousey defending as Ruby Riott. Do I even have to explain myself? Ronda Rousey retains against Ruby Riott. I think they can have a pretty good match, all things considered, but Ronda retains. Now going forward with the WWE Championship on the line inside the Elimination Chamber, the champion, the new Daniel Bryan, will be defending against AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, and Kofi Kingston. And I think, I said it earlier tonight, guys, I think Daniel Bryan retains the championship. And finally, I don't know if this is going to be the last match. I don't know if the WWE Championship is going to be the last match, but with the brand new WWE Women's Tag Team Championships on the line inside the Elimination Chamber, we've got Nia Jax and Tamina, Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, the Iconics, Sasha Banks and Bayley, and Naomi and Carmella. And I'm going on the record right now, I could be completely wrong about this. I know the obvious choice is Sasha Banks and Bayley, but I don't think Sasha Banks and Bayley should be the first champions. I think that should go to the Iconics. Why? Because you put the title on heels. Now, I know you can say, well, what about Nia and Tamina? No. Put the titles on the Iconics. Now do I change my... Hold on, I'm thinking here. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go Iconics. Because just think about them being the champions, the first champions, how funny their promos will be, gloating and gloating and gloating. We know these titles are floating, so they can show up on Raw, they can show up on SmackDown, and then eventually they're on Raw, and we learn that they're going to defend against Sasha Banks and Bayley come WrestleMania. Here's my prediction, my fantasy booking. Iconics win at the Chamber. They defend them, maybe a fast lane. Maybe they're successful, maybe they're not. Another team, another heel team beats them. You go to WrestleMania, Sasha Banks and Bayley win those titles at WrestleMania. Great big moment for the two of them. That is my prediction. The Iconics, smarmy heels, walking out of the Elimination Chamber, the first ever WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. I want to say thank you guys for joining me here on this episode of the PWUnlimited podcast, the Wednesday show, episode number 63. You can follow us right here on YouTube as always. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Twitter at PWUnlimited. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/PWUnlimited, where you can go and get early access and exclusive content right there. And for the latest up-to-date news, check out our website, PWUnlimited.net. Now, Nicholas Altamore says, what do the betting odds say? We will have an updated betting odds video in the morning. First thing tomorrow, we will put up a betting odds video. So we'll have to wait and see. I was going to do it today, but the betting odds actually hadn't changed. They hadn't been updated since everything went down on SmackDown because they were the same from yesterday to today. So I'm going to see if they do change tomorrow. And we'll put up a new video for the betting odds tomorrow morning on PW Unlimited. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a great night. We will see you live this Sunday following the Elimination Chamber. Have a good one.